Emmy winner Leslie Jordan is conquering all forms of media on social media. He makes his debut at the Grand Ole Opry later this month, and he can be seen on the Fox series Call Me Kat, which just was renewed for a second season. I'm Tony Ruiz of Gold Derby. And Leslie, I have to ask, are you having as much fun now as you've ever had in your career?
I really am. And it's so interesting that I got off a bus in Hollywood. I got a degree in, I called it theater. I was told many times, it's theater, Mr. Jordan. I said, theater, from the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, which was the smaller part of the University of Tennessee system. And I got on a bus, and what I wanted in Hollywood was certainly not what I'm getting right now. All this extra, I thought I want to work. I want to do sitcoms, maybe do movies. I want to do this. I want to do that. Well, all that happened, and now, I certainly didn't plan to do an album. I certainly didn't plan to write a book, but it just all sort of came to fruition right about the time of this horrible pandemic. So I was very busy. The book, they approached me because I had had such success with Instagram, and the people at HarperCollins said, "You've got a book and we would love to publish it." So anyone who's been hawking a manuscript around to publishers probably wants to punch me in the face, because they came to me and said, here are our ideas. We'd like the title to be how y'all doing. And it ended up in this beauty. I don't know if you can tell, but it's very tiny. It's almost like a little tiny book, which I just love. It's so easy to read, and people seem to be really enjoying it. And I just wrote all my stories, and then I was approached by some producers who do albums, said you should do a gospel album. My friend Travis Howard and I would sing hymns. We both grew up in the Baptist church, and we grew up on these old hymns, and they were just the fabric of our childhood. They were just, when we heard them, they gave us so much comfort. And so we went to Nashville and put together a gospel album. And I don't even think of myself as a singer, really. We were told in church, just sing loud for the Lord. And so I can sing loud for the Lord. But what a journey that was. I was able to get people like Dolly Parton interested, and Eddie Vedder, and Brandy Carlisle was really supportive and really helped me. TJ Osborne and Tanya Tucker, just on and on. Everybody I asked said yes. So it's a good time to be Leslie Jordan. I mean, just sitting here in the middle of all this. And I think, it's at the right time. I have a long history. I'm 22 years clean and sober from drugs and alcohol. A lot of people don't know that. I have a sordid, very dark side, and I would have messed it up. A long time ago, I would have messed it up. This is the time. I don't have the energy I have, because at 66, I sometimes wish, why didn't this happen in my 20s or 30s? Well, you know exactly why it didn't happen, because you would have messed it up. So it's all going real well right now.
So now you have this sitcom that is coming back for a second season, and so are you able to appreciate it in a different way now?
Listen, appreciation is not even the right word. I need a bigger word than appreciation, because for one, I'm an actor who over the years has had so many failed series. At one point I counted, I don't know, something like 12 pilots that I did that didn't go, 22. It was just astronomical. And I really wanted this one to go because I liked the script. I adore Mayim Bialik. I've fallen desperately in love with Cheyenne Jackson, who hasn't, even though he's happily married to Jason and they have 2 4-year-old twins. I still have to have hope in my heart. But now he's my best friend now. And Kyla Pratt and Julian Gant. We just have such a cast. Swoosie Kurtz. Oh my gosh, her dressing room's next to mine. So we're never even, we don't even shut our doors. Our doors are open and we're out in the hall all the time. We have such a good time. And so, and we knew we were going to have a good time. When we went to shoot the pilot is the day that the stay-at-home orders came and started. However they put it, how do they say it? Stay in place orders.
Shelter in place, stay at home. It always
shelter, hunker down, go hunker
down. Yeah, exactly. I like that one better.
And so we knew, because Fox promised us, they said, kids, we are not going to give up on this. The minute that we can come back and do this, we're going to do it. So that was another wonderful way to go through the pandemic, knowing that I had a job, knowing that this was going to happen. And it did happen. We shot the pilot. And then we got into our first 13 episode order. And I just knew something special was happening. We were getting, I don't pay attention to the ratings and everything, but apparently we're getting good ratings. And so now we've been picked up for 18, which is a wonderful thing for next season. So I still have a job, which as an actor. So do I appreciate it? Oh, you don't know. Every morning I wake up just thinking, I've got a job. I've got a job. And I hope it runs as long. I was thinking the other day, I was laughing. I thought, if this show ran as long as Big Bang Theory, which ran 12 years, I'll be 78 years old. Still, I'll be like Betty White. We only have.
I would say that's not a bad aspiration to have.
It is not bad. It's just, it's an exhausting aspiration.
Well, you said you responded to something in the script, and the show is, I think, very unique in terms of its tone, and it's just pure kind of unfiltered joy. Is that what really attracted you?
Well, it was such a long kind of journey to get the part. I was originally hired to play Julian Gant's part, the guy in the bar. And I got the part and I was excited, and it was a smaller part, but they said, we're going to write for you, we promise. And so that was that. Well, then they called back Darling Hunt, who I'm very sad to say is not going to continue as our showrunner. We're moving on, and we have a new showrunner next season. But Darling Hunt, our showrunner from last year, kept saying to me, calling me up, saying, we can't find Phyllis. Phyllis was my character, Phil, heavyset woman in the bar whose husband had left her. She was kind of pitiful. And I knew where she was headed. She finally said, we think maybe Phyllis could be a Phil, kind of this hapless gay guy whose boyfriend from the Big Lots has left him. He had a young boyfriend for the first time, and that 18-year-old boy from Big Lots has left him, and he's just crushed. And so she said, would you mind on your cell phone just putting some of the lines down and let us hear in it? I said, I'll audition. What are you, crazy? I'll come in and audition. So crazy. I went in and auditioned for a TV show that I already had a part of, was already a part of. And that afternoon she called and said, Phyllis is now Phil, and welcome to the show. Of course, my agents immediately called the business affairs and said, now look, he's got a major role now, up that money. So it was so much fun too, because they made Phyllis Phil. So it was a brand new character, really. And I was able just to bring in whatever I wanted, and I really had, a say in things. And so I'm so happy where Phil is right now. He's become an integral part of the Cat Cafe, and I like the relationship between Mayim Bialik and this older gay man. I mean, it's just such an interesting kind of relationship. You just don't see that on TV. Where she's 39, not married, and her best friend's this old 66-year-old queen. And then it's fun, but I hope we just run forever.
Well, you mentioned that you get a say in some of the writing for Phil. I have to imagine that some of the stories that Phil tells and some of the things he drops in, how much of that is written and how much of that is you?
Well, I didn't improvise. So I wouldn't come in and just improvise a story. And I can honestly say probably most of those stories came from Darlene Hunt's imagination, because I would just read them and just laugh out loud. I think this is something that would have happened. My mother is nothing like Phil's mother, Mama. And she said to me, "You have played this character. You make me seem like I'm this addled old country woman, and I'm not." My mother's very, very chic, very young, very with it, and she doesn't like that. But I would say that a lot of the stories, the basic stories, were stories that I have told around the set sometimes, because sometimes I don't even ask. Like I'll tell a funny story around the set, and somebody will lean in and go, "That'll be in next week's script." I go, "No, it won't." Bam, there it is. No, didn't ask my permission. I guess once you put it out there, writers, it's all, you probably know, it's free. It's out there. Yeah, a lot of them are stories from my life, but I'm surprised at how clever they've been coming up with stories that just floor me, that I love telling. There was one about goats. It was just silly. We used to ride bucking goats, and I tell this story about riding a bucking goat or something. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, and just silly.
Well, I have to
can a 66-year-old man be this silly?
Well, and I think one of the episodes that I think just was a standout for me was the episode where Phil doesn't know which of the cinnamon rolls has had marijuana put into it, and the physical comedy. I mean, when you saw that script, how did you react to it?
Well, I thought this is up my alley, and being the selfish actor that I am, I didn't realize how far up Kyla Pratt's alley it was. When she looks at me and goes, "We're gonna ride the dragon," I thought, "Oh my God, let's ride." She is so much fun, and so many of my scenes were with her in that, and going back and forth. I really enjoyed that episode. And another episode I enjoyed was the episode which I think was the very last one, where I sort of fall in love with the plumber, the guy that comes in, who's a dear friend of mine. His wife had a baby yesterday, so I hope they'll bring him back. I have a crush on the maintenance man.
Is there something, as now that you have a second season, is there a particular place that you want to see Phil go? What are your thoughts about where you'd like the character to go?
You know what, my thing as an actor is that, because I'm a writer too, I have a lot of respect for the written word, and it drives me crazy, especially in television. I think that movies are a director's medium. Film is a director's medium. Stage is an actor's medium. Television is a writer's medium. You have really wonderful writers. And so when I do television, I try really hard to serve the words that I'm given. So I don't think in terms, I'll make suggestions to them, but I like to get the script, and I like to think, okay, these are my words. How can I take these words and serve these words and make these words the best I can? So I'm not one of these actors that sees the character. Oh, I want to see this. In fact, we had a meeting when I was on The Cool Kids, or one of them, where they sat down and said, "Where do you want to go with this?" I had nothing to say. I'm going to go wherever you take me. What do you mean? I don't know. Where do I want to go with this character? I want to serve your words, and I want to go wherever you want to take me and do the best I can. I think is the best way to answer that, because I'm not one, that thinks like that. I don't think, of course and then the minute I say something like, what if I said, okay, I think Phil needs to get a boyfriend, or Phil needs this or that, it wouldn't be like the boyfriend that I want. You know what I mean? They'd come up with some crazy something. No, I want a handsome boyfriend. I don't want something. In fact, we had a whole episode that they dropped of my boyfriend. My brother introduces me to his prison. My brother gets out of prison and introduces me to his cellmate, who just got out of prison too. We fall in love. And of course, he just treats me horribly. But that didn't go. But the fun part is, to me as an actor, is not knowing. Just give it to me and let's take it. Let's have some fun with it. And those actors, they sit in those rooms, 12 of them around a table, and write. And sometimes I think, when I see an actor improvising, I think, do you have any idea what they were probably there till 4 a.m, running those words, finding the sequence of the words. If you know David Kelly, which I worked for forever, even a ... or even I was told on the David Kelly show, I said, back in 1973, they came over and said, listen, he wants back in 73, because it has don't say 1970, and there are writers like that they want to hear, they have a rhythm. And so that's what I try to do. I find that fun, to try to speak the words as written.
In your career, obviously Will and Grace was really a huge breakthrough for you, and of course you won an Emmy for it. But you have probably one of the funniest Emmy stories. And I'll just ask this very simple question: is your Emmy still broken?
Yes. You want to see it?
I will not say no to that.
Oh, she's just a mess. Look, see what happened. And when was it? 2006. It was a while ago, and now she's getting kind of tarnished. And I've been told by many people, see, I tried to glue this part back on, and all this is Gorilla Glue. They're coming down her. She's a mess. But yeah, I just kind of rest that there and put, people walk in and go, oh my God, what happened to her? And they've offered me a new one, but I have to give them this one because I don't want many floating around. I said, I'm not giving you this one. They said, then you don't get a new one. I said, well, fine, I'll win one. I'll win her a sister, a beautiful sister.
Well, we talked at the outset about, all the things that you've accomplished with, the gospel album and singing at the Opry and books and stage and things like that. Is there something you haven't done that you really want to try?
I've toyed with the idea of that I'd like to do a Broadway show. I've done off Broadway and I've done Broadway bound shows, but that's work. You think, we get so spoiled out in Hollywood, that is work. I just, hats off to those Broadway performers that come in, day out, and do 8 performances a week, with the flu, without the flu, feeling this, feeling that. When I did it with my one-man show, which was hard because I had to be on stage, you have to live like a monk, Someone walked down the street and said to me, so dear, have you taken the veil? And I said, I don't know what that means. That's Catholic for taking becoming a nun, taking the veil. Have you taken the veil, my dear? I said, and then finally when I figured out, I thought, boy, have I. As you do, you get that one day off, but you're so spiritually, mentally, physically exhausted. It's not like even a day off. So I don't know. I've toyed with that, but I'm pretty happy right now with just having this job, and doing my job, and we'll see what comes from that. I don't have any huge aspirations. I've done what I need to do. It's just gravy from here on out.
Well, I, for one, will be certainly watching when Call Me Kat comes back, and when Leslie Jordan makes his debut on the Grand Ole Opry. I believe it's May 22nd.
Yes, it's 7:00, and Vince Gill is on you should see the Jim Lauderdale. I mean, it's a big lineup. It's a big deal. So I'm very excited. I'm having an outfit made, a little Western.
Of course you are.
Portable. I call myself Portable Wagner.
I cannot wait. Everybody go to goldderby.com, make your predictions for the Emmys, and stay tuned for more interviews with contenders throughout the season. Leslie Jordan, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're lovely to have me.